Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. Hope you're all doing well and had a good start to the week. Today, we're talking about content marketing strategies for small business. We've got the lovely Karen Weber with us today, who's the founder of Goodness Marketing. Hi, Karen.
Hi, good morning. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for spending this next hour with us. I know Karen's got a really jam-packed session for us today, lots and lots of information in this deck today. So don't worry if you miss out on anything. You don't have to keep taking notes because we'll send you the recording, and we've got a lovely little follow-up for you as well with lots of great resources that Karen's put together. If you've got any questions as we go, please do put them into the Q&A section. We will answer all of your questions at the end. If we don't get to them, you can always follow up with us or Karen. Please get involved in the chat, say hello, let us know your business and where you are in the country. We are doing this in partnership today with BT Skills for Tomorrow, who we've been working with for about 4 years now, I think. You can find lots more free resources for small businesses over on bt.com/skills for tomorrow. I'm going to hand over to Karen, and I'll see you at the end for questions.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thanks, Emma, for that introduction. Yes, my business is called Goodness Marketing, and I'm all about marketing that feels good, does good, and gets good results. Feels good because I believe that marketing can feel joyful. Tell us in the chat if you agree. But I believe marketing can feel easy and fun rather than draining and soul destroying. We've all been there. I believe marketing can do good. It can have a positive effect on you, the person doing the marketing, the people receiving your marketing, and the world around you. And of course, we want our marketing to get good results, because what's the point otherwise? On your screen, you'll see a QR code. If you take your mobile, if you're on laptop or desktop, and you take your mobile on camera mode, a link should come up. This is not compulsory at all, but because this is such a jam-packed session full of information, I have put a summary together in PDF form that you can download, and I'll keep this on the screen just for a moment, that you can download, so you can follow along, and you don't have to take furious notes, and also that you can come back to it after the session. Because what I want to give you today is some food for thought about content marketing, and what that might look like for your business. And also, I want to give you some practical tips, obviously, that you can put into action straight away. But yes, I just thought I'll give you the overview, but the vibe for today is very much that I want to pose questions to you so that you can go and apply that to your own business, because I don't believe in a one size fits all marketing approach. So I think Amber's going to drop the link in the chat as well if you don't manage to scan the QR code. But with that out the way, let's chat a bit about what is content marketing actually, because I think it's important to get really clear about what it is we're actually talking about. So content marketing is a method of marketing, of self-promotion, of telling people what you do, that involves the creation and sharing of content that is good. So good content that's valuable, it's relevant, and it's consistent. And we'll talk more about that C word, which I think is sometimes problematic in marketing. We'll talk more about that in a bit. So you're creating this content to attract a particular audience and move them to take specific actions. Now that content can be in different formats and on different platforms. It can be spoken words, it can be video, email, newsletters, photographs, website pages, blog posts, it can be reviews, it can be offline things like brochures, letters, flyers, advertising. So I'm pretty sure that you are doing content marketing. Then the next part of the puzzle is that it should be aimed at a particular audience. You don't want to just create content. It's impossible to create content that is loved universally by absolutely everybody. So you want to focus your efforts on the people who are most likely to respond in the way you want them to, most likely to engage, most likely to move a little bit closer to you after seeing that content. And then you don't want them to just enjoy the content and go, so what? You want them to take specific actions off the back of that. So as a result of engaging with your content, I think lots of us sometimes wish people read a blog post and immediately go and buy something. That's not the case. The goal of your content is to inform, provide value, have an emotional connection with people, which likely then leads to outcomes such as signing up to your newsletter or researching something you sell, with a view to eventually, hopefully, leading to sales and a long-lasting relationship. So yeah, when I talk about content marketing, I talk about these three broad aspects: good content aimed at specific people, with a view to getting them to take a desired action. Now, this infographic is from the archives. I personally created this infographic in 2012, 12 years ago. It was at the advent of infographics. And it was about content marketing. That's how long I've been talking about this topic. And 12 years ago, we called this infographic the heart, or content marketing, the heart of online success. And it really is still the case. And I would argue it's not just the heart of online business, marketing success, but also offline marketing. And here's why. Content marketing is good for business. There's lots of research that shows that it's more effective and that it gets sales. There's research that shows that you get 3 times more leads on average through content marketing than through paid search, which I think is music to the ears of small businesses who don't want to pay loads of money for ads. Also, conversion rates on sites with a content marketing focus are nearly 6 times higher than those with very little content. So the more useful content you can have on your website, the more likely it is that you will get better conversion. That's research by the Aberdeen Group, by the way. It's also really good for your visibility and brand awareness. So you may have heard all sorts of numbers about people need to see your brand 5 to 7 times or 16 to 18 times. The numbers vary greatly before they take that next step in the relationship with you. So having content in lots of different places or in lots of different formats can really help you to increase that visibility. Most of us, possibly without knowing, are sitting on a gold mine of content. You might have a website that's full of content. You might have some old blogs, emails, social content. It's all about thinking quite cleverly, and I'll show you in a minute, about how you can repurpose and repackage that content so that you can show up in lots of places with variations of the same content. So you're seen by lots of people many times. So you have a high number of different touch points. It also builds trusted relationships. Most people, I don't know about you, don't trust ads that much. We've seen that influencers aren't trusted that much anymore, not the way they used to be trusted anyway, which means that there is a real hunger for content that people can trust. Research by Roper said that 70% of people said they feel closer to an organization after they've engaged with their content. So another tick there for content marketing. It also builds community around your business. And for me, I think, and for most small businesses, the biggest benefit is the fact that it's cost effective. So yes, it takes time and it takes effort to create good content, but once it's created, it can serve your business over time. It has real longevity. So if you create things like webinars or a blog post or a podcast or a video, it has the potential to offer a higher return on investment than something like advertising or like social media advertising and stuff. Again, just a stat, I think this is the last one, by Demand Metric that said content marketing costs 62% less than traditional marketing, and it generates about 3 times as many leads. So obviously this research is done by through businesses of all sizes. So I'm not saying if you start doing content marketing, you're going to get these results. But I think for any small business, content marketing is an approach that you should seriously consider. So what I want us to do today, now that you're hopefully on board with the idea of content marketing, is that I want to take you through a framework that I've created for small businesses to work out how you can do content marketing. And I want to take you on a whistle-stop tour of this 5 W's and an H. And is anyone familiar with this kind of format? So I did, when I trained as a journalist, this was drilled into us, asking the 5 W's and the H, and trying to, it's an approach that captures information really quickly, and we had to put all of that information in the opening paragraph of a news report. However, I have gone and I've applied this to content marketing. And as we go through this presentation this morning, and if you've downloaded the PDF, I encourage you to ponder on these questions and to think about how you can apply them in your business, how you can start to shape an approach to content marketing that works for your business. So the 5 W's and H for this content marketing framework is: why do you want to create content? What do you want it to achieve? Who are the specific people you want to reach, and how do they relate to you? What can you say to make you stand out? Where do you need to show up and share your messages? When's the best time to share the message? A question I get asked a lot. And how can you do this consistently and sustainably? So a whistle-stop tour. So we have lots of time for questions at the end. Let's kick off with why. So why are you doing content marketing? The reason is usually because you want it to help your business, right? So how do you make sure that content marketing actually achieves that? I think it starts with getting really clear on your business goals and then letting your decisions about marketing and content flow from that. So not the other way around, not going, I'm going to do social media posts or blogs because somebody else said so, but actually going, how does this align with my broader business objectives? So as you can see in that diagram, you have your business goals at the top because that needs to come first. So your business goals need to inform your approach to marketing or your marketing strategy. So you can ask yourself, how can marketing help me achieve my business goals? So next you go from this broad approach to marketing into the specifics. So if your approach is to be more visible in order to make more sales, well, how will you achieve that? Could it be running a PR campaign or going to a networking event every week? And then finally, you take those marketing goals and you break them down into marketing tasks, which includes creating content and sharing content. So what content will support your marketing goals? So for example, if you take a small clothes shop and say their business goal is to increase their sales by 20% year on year, their marketing strategy could be to make more online sales through their website and social media. Then their marketing goals could be, well, grow my social media following to a certain number, or increase website traffic by 20%, or increase conversion on the website by X%. And then you go, right, what are the marketing tasks that I need to do to achieve that? When it comes to content, it could be about getting really creative and thinking about social content that gains lots of followers through being entertaining and not just sales posts. Or it could mean for the website, creating highly optimized website content that's or shareable reels and videos showing off the clothes. Or to have an example that's more service-based, maybe it's a small local financial advisory firm and they want to grow their sales by breaking into a new target market. So their business goal might look like something like get 5 new clients in the next 6 months. The strategy, the approach that will get them there is to increase their visibility among a certain group. So say millennials who are interested in sustainable investing. Their marketing goals off the back of that is to create search engine optimized pages on their website about sustainable investment. They might want to do some publicity around the new service offering. And then again, working it backwards, what content do they need to create to support that? It might be a landing page or blog content on sustainable investing. They might publish an educational article in a local newspaper about the topic. They might create a YouTube video explaining sustainable investment. So in both these examples, they've started at the top with their business goals and they've gone, how can marketing support it? And what do I actually need to do? So the key point for why is work backwards from your big goal, because your marketing must be connected to your business objectives in order to be successful. That's why. Now we're going to talk about who, which I think people often forget when it comes to their marketing. And another sort of mistake that I think lots of us make is that we try to be for everyone. You are not for everyone. In fact, if you can get clear on who you are not for, this can be a great way of really laser focusing your marketing. So you're not for everyone, and that's not just okay, that's actually great, because it means you can be a bit more focused with your marketing. Lots of you will have heard about ideal buyers, buyer personas, client avatars. In my experience, a lot of these focus on the wrong things. So maybe talk in the chat, I can't follow along on the chat, there's too much going on. But I've seen lots of client avatars where people go, oh, I sell to mums in their 40s. Well, I'm a mum in my 40s, and I don't know, think of a celebrity in their 40s who's also a mum. You'll market to us in very different ways, right? So rather than focus on things like age and gender, if that's not a factor in people's decision to buy from you or not, think about the things that do influence their decision to build a relationship with you. So think about the things that you can solve for them. Think about their biggest annoyances, their frustrations, their challenges, and then think about how they respond to those. What words do they use to describe their feelings? How and where do they look for help? What inspires them to take that next step, that next bit of action? On the right of your screen there, you'll see a typical buyer's journey. Some people break it down in 5, 6, 3, but it's this idea of where people go on a journey with you, and they go from being not aware of what you're doing or that you exist to being aware of you, to getting to know, like, and trust you, to converting, to becoming a client or a customer, and then finally they become your cheerleader and they refer others to you. And when you think about who you are creating content for, I really want you to think about this buyer's journey and think about how you can be mega helpful at each stage with your content. Think about the questions they have, think about the places where they hang out, and let that inform your content. So the key takeaway with who is be clear on who you sell to and speak to them in a way that makes them feel, oh, that's me, they're speaking exactly directly to me, or that's exactly the answer that I wanted. Versus what I think lots of people do with their content, they kind of go, oh, maybe that will do the job, or I guess that will do. You want that emotional reaction because people feel like you've really nailed where they are in the journey and given them the answers or the solutions that they're looking for at that stage. So that's who. And the next one is what. So, I mean, I have 1,000,001 content tips, but instead of sharing that, I'm going to challenge you to use these guiding principles about what type of content you should be creating to figure out what it should look like for your business. Because when it comes to the question of what content, you'll find the answer by thinking about how you can be as helpful as possible to your people at each stage of the journey. So like I said, think about their questions, their challenges, their key areas of interest in each stage of their relationship with you, and then generously give this to them in the places they look for that information. And we'll look at the places in a moment. And that idea of generously giving, I think is a bit unusual potentially in traditional marketing advice, where we're told, like, don't give your best stuff away for free and keep your cards close to your chest and hide things. I think the market has changed, and I think our audiences, and I almost feel like that's universal regardless of what type of business you have, they value that. They value having a glimpse of the generosity of your business and how much value they're going to get from working with you or buying from you. So I really want you to think about how you can generously support them even before they've handed over a penny. And let's just look at an example. These aren't the most creative examples I've ever come up with, but it's to give you a flavor of how you can think about your people, whether you're a pet shop or something else, at each stage, and how you can give them what they want or need through your content. So you might, in the unaware stage, sorry, let me just go back to this. So we're looking at snackable, shareable content that makes them think, oh, I relate to that. So in the pet shop, that might mean quick reels showing pets doing silly things and using trending audio. Or if you're a yoga teacher, it could be short videos showing different poses that people can learn at home. So think about the stuff that will be eye-catching. Think about something that people might want to share with somebody else, and think snackable, because then they don't yet know you. They may be just scrolling social media, and you just want to catch their attention and have them invest 30 seconds and go, actually, this is valuable and it's something I want more of. So now they're aware and you want to bring them closer. This is where you need to be in the places where your ideal buyer searches for answers, and then make it easy for them to take that next step. So for the pet shop, it could be, I think both of these are, I know they're not both search optimized blog posts, but search optimized blog posts is one of the best ways of doing this. So you might answer questions like the best chew toys for cockapoo puppies, or if you're a yoga teacher, something like a YouTube series of Monday morning practices to start the week off, and then ask them to subscribe. So it's a way to bring them closer, which I realized with my hands, I'm making it look very devious and you're pulling them closer. But it is that idea of giving them value and starting to build a relationship with them. So the next stage is know and like, or the nurture stage. And this is where you are a consistent presence and you show them that you have things in common, maybe you share a bit about your values, and you show them that you're a business that can be trusted by showing up consistently. Pet shop example, this might be email newsletters, sharing tips about pet ownership, some training ideas for silly puppies, cockapoo puppies. I've got one sleeping next to me. Training ideas, like I said, personal stories, testimonials, pictures of happy pets and clients. For the yoga teacher, it might be email newsletters showing your own yoga journey, maybe showing imperfect yoga, giving helpful tips, recommending practices, recommending products. Then when you convert, and actually I think a lot of businesses that I work with fall short on this bit of content marketing because you're asking for the sale, you're showing off your stuff. So this can be product or service centric content that answers specific questions about you or your products or your services. So this could be video demos on how to use your products, showcasing how easy they are to use, what fab quality they are. It could be promotional offers to get them over the line. It could be testimonials from students. It can be a link to book onto a class. And then the final stage is cheerleaders. So this is where people have bought from you and you want them to cheer about you and tell all their friends and tell the world. So you continue to educate them and you empower them to be ambassadors. So that might look like exclusive content, competitions, things like Pet of the Month, referral codes that they can pass on to friends, first access to special events, the chance to bring someone to a class, access to advanced practice videos. So really think about how you can apply this to your business, what your ideal person's journey looks like, and what you need to give them at each stage. The key takeaway for what is to be outrageously helpful and completely focused on your ideal buyers at each stage of the journey. Next up, we have where, and there's one bullet point. That's it, that's the slide. And I can finish this here by saying you don't need to be everywhere, but I'm actually going to say it a little bit louder for the non-believers. Oh, I see this all the time. Seriously, please forget about the shiny new object. Meta will continue to launch new things. There'll continue to be new social media platforms, probably, new functionality, new things to try. But jumping on every new social channel or following the advice of every marketing expert and for a dime a dozen, it's foolish, because that way lies overwhelm, burnout, ineffective, chaotic marketing. So this is a big fat permission slip from me to you to actually stop trying to show up on every single marketing channel. So if you're not going to be everywhere, how do you decide where to actually show up? Here's how you can start to hone in. And it starts with a channel analysis. What I often do with clients is I get them to write down everywhere that they appear or like do marketing. And that's not just online, it is memberships that you're part of, networking events that you attend, flyers that you hand out. So make a list of all the channels where you currently show up and maybe want to show up, and then ask yourself these questions. Are your audience engaged on the platform? Do they want to engage with you there? How well does that channel actually contribute to your business and your marketing goals? Do you have the resources that you need to build a consistent presence and an engaged audience on there? And I'm going to put that out there. Do you actually enjoy creating content for this platform or enjoy spending time there? Because I'm about feel-good marketing, and I really believe that if we don't enjoy doing things, that energy shines through and we won't stick with it. It's like the gym. If you find an exercise you love, you're far more likely to stick with it than if you have to drag yourself and motivate yourself to do it every time. It's the same with marketing. So when you consider where you need to show up, please know that you don't have to be everywhere, and do this exercise. I think it's a really useful way to knock things on the head. I've done this myself. I dip in and out of Twitter, but I definitely don't use it as a social media, as a marketing channel. I have an account for Goodness Marketing, and I have an account with my name. My Goodness Marketing Twitter account points to my personal one, which I use from time to time. And then my personal one in the bio has a little bit that says, I prefer Instagram, because I'm hoping that people who hang out on Twitter loads and maybe want to connect with me will go and look at that and go, oh, actually, if I want to contact her, if I want the latest stuff that she says about marketing, come and find me on Instagram. So you can do the same. It's a top tip. If you decide after doing this channel analysis that you want to knock a few channels on the head, but you're a bit worried because people might look for you there, you can just signpost people to where you actually want them to go. I've got clients who have done on Instagram a 9 grid. So the first 9 photos almost act like a shop front, and it says, here's an intro, here's the things I sell, here's where I hang out on, I don't know, here's my newsletter, or here's where I hang out on LinkedIn. So when people come to that profile, it's not just, oh, they haven't posted in 3 years. It's a clear explanation of why you're not there. You don't have to explain yourself, but the fact that you have this profile, but you're not active there, and where to find you instead. So clearly think about where's the best place for you. Next, we have when. A question I get asked all the time is, when's the right time to post on Facebook? There is no universal right time to put content out there on any channel. So as always, as I keep saying, put yourself in the shoes of your ideal buyer. Really get to know your person. If you are selling to busy parents with toddlers, don't try to send them marketing between the witching hours of 5 and 7 o'clock in the evening when they're trying to do bath time and feed the kids and get them to bed. However, if your audience is people commuting from an office job at the end of a 9 to 5, 5 to 7 might be exactly the right time to send them something to break up their train journey. So it goes back to really understanding your audience and getting to know them and putting yourself in their shoes and going, when's the right time to post for them? You can also check your social media insights. So all the big social media platforms have insights that will show you times when your audience are most active. Play with that. If you have no idea, start playing with that, and then just experiment. If you post something at 6 a.m. one day and it falls flat, just think, was it the time? Was it the content? Maybe try 8 a.m. next time. So you get to play with this, and you get to make informed decisions by using what you know about your audience and using your social media insights. And I said at the start that I'm going to come back to this idea of consistency, and you'll see I put 3 red flags. And that is because there is so much nonsense out there about this idea of consistency. Like you have to post a set number of times a day or a week on social. or you must send out a certain number of emails. It's nonsense, my friends. Consistency doesn't have to look like that at all. It's just not true. Consistency in content marketing is about maintaining a regular presence and delivering value to your audience in a predictable way so that they know when you show up, it's going to be something that's relevant and useful to them, right? That good content I talked about at the start. It's not just about adhering to some rigid schedule that, again, some marketing expert maybe told you you have to stick to. So yeah, it's really about showing up for your audience in a way that feels dependable and meaningful. And you can think about this in a way of staying in touch with a good friend. You don't have to chat every day to maintain that strong relationship, but you do need to connect with them in ways that matter. You bond with your people by focusing on creating genuinely helpful and engaging content that speaks directly to their needs, because that's how you make your mark. It's not just about filling up their inbox or filling up their social media feed with your content. And one thing that I would say is that most small businesses I know don't email their people nearly enough. Whenever I say to people, you should be emailing more, or you could be emailing more, they're very worried about spamming. And this at a time when the people they are emailing probably get 10 emails a day from Boohoo or whatever fast fashion company Shein they've signed up to. You are competing with a noisy inbox. And in my experience, a once a month or very ad hoc, once every few months email probably won't have the impact that you want it to have. So if you want to be consistent, I would rather say be consistent with email, or like email more, email every day rather than worry about social media every day. Right, our final one, how. So now you know the why, who, what, when of content marketing. I'm sure you're actually thinking, how do I actually do all this? So I can't see you, but I can sense your cries for help. I know you're juggling all the things, you wear all the hats in your business. So I wanted to share just 3 things for how you can do this. First of all, for me, it's about setting a content marketing intention that's sustainable. Again, sustainable for you, which means it's rooted in your reality. It's about being realistic about what you can achieve with your resources, but also what you can achieve on your busiest, most challenging, or laziest of weeks, the week where you have to make all the things to sell, the week where your children are off sick from school, the week you just have no energy if it happens. And so what's your minimum viable marketing that you can commit to, that you can remain consistent and accountable? What does that look like for you? So we've all been there at the end of a session, hopefully like this. I hope you feel inspired rather than overwhelmed, but where you kind of have lots of ideas and you go, I can do that. I'm so motivated. And then 2 weeks later, you've run out of steam. I'd rather you set low expectations. My minimum viable marketing is that I will send 1 email to my people every week. And for the past 2-3 years, I've done that pretty much without fail. So what does yours look like? It does not have to be lofty. It does not have to look like anybody else's. What does minimum viable marketing look like for you? Secondly, have a plan. I think lots of small businesses shy away from plans because it feels heavy-handed or restrictive or too much. However, I think too often that means we get caught on the back foot. I want you to think about your marketing plans as scaffolding. It's something that gives you a solid structure, so you're not just randomly throwing content out there. And instead, every piece of content has a purpose that aligns with your bigger marketing objective. It edges you closer to achieving them. Because the plan is like having a roadmap that keeps you on track, more or less, but it still lets you navigate changes smoothly and swiftly. So don't resist it. Instead, use it as a tool. And we're heading for 11 o'clock, so we can talk about 11sies. I want to talk about cake, which, trust me, there's method in this madness. To eat cake every day for a week Would you rather bake one cake, get the mixing stuff out, get the ingredients out once, turn the oven on once because cost of living crisis, and bake that cake, cut it into slices, and eat a slice every day? Or would you repeat that process every day for a week, only to make one cupcake every day? Tell me in the chat, because I need to plug my computer in, otherwise you might lose me. And we'll see what people say. I'm going to guess that people are going to say, I'm going to bake one cake because you are efficient people. The reason I bring this cake analogy to the table is because I see all the time that businesses approach their content creation like baking a cupcake every day. They might go every day, oh, I need to post something on social media. Oh, what can I talk about today? And they get their mixing bowl out, their ideas bowl, and they create the content, and they go to Canva and they make a graphic and they find the hashtags and then they post it. Madness. Instead, how about creating something once and using it multiple times? You can change the format. So you can create a blog post and you can turn that into multiple social media posts. Then you can take those social media posts and maybe make a video that you can post on YouTube, that you can post on TikTok, that you can post on Instagram Reels, if your audience is there, and if your channel audit told you that this is the right place to be. To give you an idea, this presentation uses snippets of previous work that I've created. So this slide I've previously used. I'm going to use this presentation and probably turn it into a blog post. I'm probably going to turn it into social media posts. I'm probably going to write about it on in my Sunday newsletter. Now, if this sounds like a lot of work, please know that AI is your friend. Whether you use ChatGPT or something else, you can now repurpose content in your own tone of voice, style, so it doesn't sound like a robot at the click of a button. I use a tool called Cast Magic. If anyone's interested, I have an affiliate code, which I think gets you a discount. That literally lets you upload content, and in the click of a button, it creates social media posts, newsletters, blog posts, everything from your original content. So for example, with this presentation, I'll probably download the audio at some point, upload it to Cast Magic, and with a click of a button, get it to pull key points, work it into social media posts, maybe a blog. So you have assistants, you have robot assistants to hand. Please, please, please stop making content cupcakes one by one. Always think about how you can reuse things, how you can repackage and repurpose it, but also how you can reuse it in its entirety, like I've done with the slide. Or I have a membership called the Duker, and we often do this. We go back like a year ago and we go, well, what did I post last Easter? What products did I showcase? And we repost things in totality, which might, I don't know, does it blow your mind? Does it sound a little bit rogue? Does it make you feel a bit like, oh, what if people notice and hate me for the fact that I post old content? I'm here to tell you, in all the times that we have done this, nobody has ever noticed. B, you're not cheating anybody out of anything. Because the most depressing and the most liberating thing about marketing is that nobody sees all our stuff, and nobody cares as much about the stuff we put out there as we want them to. It's, yeah, I said depressing and liberating. Depressing because we want everybody to pay attention to our stuff and take action straight away, but liberating because they don't. The algorithm, certainly with social media, the algorithm means people don't see it. A fraction of your followers will see all your content. So posting it again not only means your new followers see it, but also the people who missed out the first time have another opportunity to see it. And it's valuable content. If it was relevant a year ago and it wasn't time sensitive and it's still relevant now, absolutely post it again. So instead of making those content cupcakes every day, bake the cake. Go look in the gold mine of content that you have already, whether that's your website, back catalogue of newsletters, blog posts, social media content. podcasts you've been on, webinars you've run, flyers and brochures that you've made in the past. Go and see what you already have so you don't have to repeat that process all the time, and then reuse it. In summary, my friends, content marketing is about creating and sharing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract a particular audience and move them to take specific actions. And as a marketing technique, it can make you more money for less effort. So that's a bit of a no-brainer. In order to be successful, you need to align your business goals and your marketing actions, which include content marketing. Be clear, get clear in your head about who you sell to and what makes them take action between those stages. In each of those stages, be outrageously helpful, completely focused on your ideal buyers, not anyone else's ideas of how it should look, at each stage of that journey. You do not have to be on all the channels, and you do not have to show up daily at all. Make your own idea of what consistency looks like for you. Make a sustainable plan that's rooted in reality, your minimum viable marketing. Reuse and repurpose all the content you create. And finally, imperfect action is better than imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. Don't let the idea of perfect get in the way of good. By the way, I thought I came up with this quote, and it turns out Harry S. Truman is in my head, who said imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. So done is better than perfect is the summary of that. And with that, I think we've reached the end of the slides. Questions, I'd love to look at the questions. Amber, I don't know if we can just go through the Q&A or what your thoughts are there.
Yes, let's do it. We've got so many questions coming in. If you've got any more for Karen, you've got about 15 minutes left of the session, so please do quickly put them in there. Karen, first of all, thank you so much for that. That was so insightful, so much great content there. As I said at the start, we are recording, so if you missed out on anything, don't worry, we'll send it directly to your email box. You also had that really helpful QR code at the start. We'll include that into the follow-up email as well, so you can get all the content there. Right, let's get started with the first question that we got towards the start. So Emma said, you said people are trusting influencers less. Does this ring true if your goal is brand awareness? Our product requires quality video content to show it in its best light, something we don't have the budget for professionally. We are considering influencer agencies to help us create our content and share to their followers. Can we still ensure the content created is trusted by the viewers?
Well, that's such a good question, Emma. And I have recently seen research that says the influencer trend has reached its peak and is going down. That's not to say, I mean, it's rock bottom or approaching rock bottom. So I think for certain types of companies, it's still very much a valid thing. It sounds to me like your goal is brand awareness, and trust actually comes further down in that journey, right? The one I shared. So brand awareness is at the top. So it's that short, snackable content. So I would say if you rely on influencers to achieve that, to be seen, and for people to go, oh, I've seen that influencer wearing that coat, so I'm going to go look at the makers of the coat. That's when you move them on. And then it's up to you probably to build that trust. Unfortunately, it is a fact that people trust what influencers say less than they did maybe 2-3 years ago. That's not to say they don't trust them at all. I would also say, because you mentioned the lack of budget, to make sure that you're able to reuse that video content in many different ways. So to not just go, oh, the influencer has shared it on their Instagram and that's it. What else can you do? What else can you do? Can you do a blog post about it to support it? Can you cut little snippets of the product in action to make a reel on your own account? Always think about how you can get the absolute most out of that. I hope that answers your question.
Definitely. I think the types of influencers are changing as well. And maybe these people don't typically present themselves as an influencer, but they obviously have influence and maybe a large following. So
that's true.
it's
Yeah,
definitely
there's
the whole world is changing of social media. It's interesting.
definitely there's a rise in micro influencers, so people who
Mm.
don't have a huge following anymore. And there's definitely an appetite for true authenticity, so something that's a bit less polished. So again, it depends on your product, but say we had the pet shop example, I'm far more likely to trust someone local to me who I mean, we have a lovely local pet shop who makes lovely leads and things. If I see somebody locally with something like that and I ask them where's that from, I'm far more likely to trust that and to follow that. That's still influencer, that's still
Mm.
influencer marketing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on the business.
Yeah, and I think just the type of content is so interesting to see how it's all changing.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Olivia. Have you got more detail on the who part? I've used client avatar processes, but it hasn't seemed to have had much success.
Oh, Olivia, yes. I see really bad advice about this. Really bad advice. And I worked in a content marketing agency for 12 years. And back when we started using that, I can see that people still give that advice to go things like, Karen, she's 44, she lives in Stockport, she drives this kind of car, she has 2 kids and a black cockapoo, or to sell her financial advice. None of that stuff's relevant, right? So there's lots of bad advice. I would say the big thing is to focus on their motivations for buying rather than who they are. So think about the things that will factor in when they go, who is this person? Do I want to buy from them? Is it stuff like budget? Is it stuff like having to get sign off from someone else in their business, or a budget holder, or they have to discuss it with their partner before they can buy? I would say good advice is to go back to those stages and to think, how do they behave? What are the factors that influence them? Also, Olivia, if you want to email me, and we will share all my email addresses on that download. I have a list of journaling questions, which I keep meaning to turn into a lead magnet, but I haven't yet. And I can send that to you. So if you drop me an email, and anybody else for that matter, I'll be happy to share those questions. So you can journal on it. And the questions are designed to spot some trends and to unpick things that actually make a difference to who you're selling to, rather than just what car do they drive.
Yeah, that's super helpful, and we'll include all of that into the follow-up email. I found it really interesting what you said about it's not just the gender and the age of who your customer is, but it's the kind of emotion and why they're buying from you. Similar to the who question, Kimberly has said, my who includes 2 audiences: students who attend our free workshops and coaches who need volunteering at them. How's the best to approach this if there's 2 types of customers?
I think 2 types is fine. I think go through the process for each of the audiences, and it might be I've definitely worked with clients who have like a B2C element and a B2B element, and for instance they would focus their efforts or tweak their content on LinkedIn to one audience and say on Instagram to the other audience. But if you go through that process, if you ask yourself these questions like what motivates them to buy, what's their biggest challenges, and how do they behave at each stage of that buying cycle or buyer's journey, it should give you, and you do the channel analysis, it should give you some ideas of where you need to show up, and how you can tweak your content based on both audiences. It's entirely doable.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, I think we've had this question before, and obviously there are types of different people you're going to want to connect with your business, and yeah, so I think we've been told before like up to 3 customer types is a good starting point.
Yeah. It's absolutely, it will depend on the business. I think it's rare though to get just one person that you sell, or one type of person that you sell to. A good practice is to think of somebody in real life, somebody you've sold to before, or a current client or a previous client, and go, if I could just clone that person and just sell to them or people like them, and then go, right, how did they find out about me? How did I nurture them? What parts of the content did they reference when we started working together? Did they read the article on chew toys for cockapoo puppies and then come into the shop and buy it. So really get to know your audience, and then you'll start to form a picture of who you want more of. And yeah, like I said in the presentation, the opposite is also true, where you go, who are you absolutely not for, and who do you not want to deal with? Not in a horrible way, but who is not your ideal client. Then, like, for me, it would be someone who knows everything about marketing already and isn't willing to change their ways or learn something new. Then you can start to go, well, what's the opposite of that? And start to form a picture of it.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you. Okay, next question. What are your top three free social media scheduling tools, please?
Oh, do you know what? I only use one. I use Meta Business Suite, which schedules to Facebook and Instagram. And I use that for clients actually as well, because it makes it very easy, and you can tweak it for Facebook. So if you have the same sort of bulk of the social media post, you can toggle it to Facebook, and you can include a link, which you can't do on Instagram, and you can toggle it on Instagram, and you can add hashtags, which you wouldn't bother with for Facebook. So that's one. There's lots of others knocking about, but that's the only one that I consistently use.
Yeah, we've used Hootsuite, but I think there is a free version.
That's the thing, most of them are paid for.
Yeah.
So yeah, Metricool is another one that people use later. Yeah. There's lots of them. Most of them are paid for. Meta Business Suite is free. And from what I use it for, which is Instagram and Facebook scheduling, it's absolutely fine. Someone's suggesting Loomly. I've not heard of that one.
Cool. Speaking of social media networks, someone's asked a question about Threads. It's basically saying, what are you seeing on Threads? Are people seeming to get leads? Are there many small businesses on there?
I think Threads is Threads is very annoying to me, because when it came out, I was like, yes, we've got the new Twitter that's not toxic. Such a hype. I actually ran a training session a week after it launched on how to make the most of this new platform, and then it all went a bit flat, didn't it? What I'm seeing on Threads is that people are using it to build relationships. So I've not seen ways that people really, maybe people do make business, like get business from it, but for me it's more about that trust, that nurture thing, that showing a bit of leg, sharing a little bit about what you're about, and having conversations in a way that's possibly easier to do than on Instagram, possibly nicer to do than on LinkedIn for some people. It's short little snippets. But for me, I don't think it's lived up to the hype at all. And yeah, Olivia says that Threads is rubbish now. And I would, like, personally, I don't enjoy it. And Meta are trying very hard to get us to use it. They show us the little clips in Instagram, and I sort of go, oh yeah, Threads. From a business point of view, I'm not seeing it having any effect yet. Maybe that will change if Meta allows people to schedule, but I think then some of that natural conversation will fall by the wayside. So yes, not sure.
Amazing, thank you. Okay, next question. Can I use ChatGPT to repurpose my content and post it? What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, 100% yes. At first, I was really skeptical of ChatGPT, and I think there are still some examples of where the rise of AI makes me feel very uncomfortable. However, having said that, I think it is extremely helpful, and I use it all the time to repurpose my content. I use it for things like uploading audio and asking it to transcribe it. I upload transcripts and I ask it to pick out the key points. I help, and I use it as an assistant, as a content assistant, so that I don't have a white sheet of blank screen in front of me and go, where do I start with this? I often ask it for analogies and for examples. There's lots and lots of things that you can do with ChatGPT. So absolutely, imagine it as a little marketing sidekick that you can just use to brainstorm ideas with. That's another thing, to just go, oh, I need to run a workshop on content marketing. Where do I start? Or what could be an outline for the workshop? I did that actually with this, and then I didn't do it because it's just a kind of, you can have a conversation with it and go, what do you think about this? could this be a good idea? Is there a better way to say this? So yeah, huge fan, but I think it's really important to remember that it's a robot, and it's only as good as the brief, and that it needs checking afterwards, and that the facts can be tricky. I think the language is very samey. So I'm starting to see things like people commenting on my LinkedIn post, and I'm like, oh, you use ChatGPT, that's not
Oh,
real.
yeah.
So the
Yeah.
more people use it, I think the more nonsense we'll see. Lena asked, can we use it to create a blog? Yes, you can. There's also a tool called writer.me, RYTR.me. And I think that one's brilliant for giving you an outline for a blog and to assist with things like typical keywords to include, and give you a framework as well. But yeah, big fan, but please remember that it's just an assistant. It's not a replacement for your brilliant brain that understands your business and your people and your products and services the way that only you can.
I love that perspective of think of it as a marketing assistant, and even transcribing your audio. I think that's a great time saver as well for small businesses. And totally agree. I think people are becoming very aware of people using it, and if people are just cutting and pasting, it kind of does reduce that trust factor.
Yeah, it's also, somebody said that's very American, and I found the same. So I've asked it before to take a blog post and create a script for a reel. And I cringed so hard because it was so American, and just something so unlike me, and not something I would ever do. And I've not been able to brief it in a way that gives an output that I actually want to do.
And it's so important keeping it in tone with your voice, your small business brand. Just quickly, I've seen some questions about your email address, Karen. I've put the link for the QR code, which I think has all your details on it. So that's in the chat. So if you want to click on that, if you've missed it, don't worry, we'll include it in the follow-up email along with this recording. Cool. Okay, we've got quite a few more questions. If we haven't been able to get to your question, please do email us or get in contact with Karen. We'll be more than happy to follow up with you there. Okay, so we also get questions on hashtags. Are hashtags still important, Karen? And if so, how many do you recommend?
Hashtags are a pain in the bum. That's how I see them, because there's so much like nonsense advice or like varied advice. Some say use all 30 is the only way your content will be seen. Some say use 5 to 8. So the most recent kind of advice from people I trust has said use 5 to 8 hashtags, which is fine. It's better than 30, right? But what Instagram is doing is they are getting better at just looking at your caption and understanding what you're talking about in your caption. So I think that it's more important to write slightly longer captions that describe what your post is about, so the Instagram algorithm can understand it. So still use the hashtags, but I think, and I hope, because I really hate them, over time hashtags will become oblivion, like it will fade into oblivion, because the Instagram algorithm will start to be like Google and will just be able to read the caption. And the same with your alt text, so describing what the photo is about for people using screen readers. So yes, hashtags still important apparently. So we'll keep using it, and until somebody officially tells us this is how to use it. But maybe go for 5 to 8.
I think you're right, because we see that on TikTok as well. It kind of lifts it from the captions and what the text you put on there. I personally have never searched with hashtags. I don't know about anyone else out there, but I guess, as you said, we're waiting for an official notice of not to use them.
It's something that people gamify. So I used to follow hashtags, but people, like anybody, it's such a low barrier to entry. So say you're interested in content marketing and you follow that hashtag, anybody can stick that hashtag on there. And the algorithm hasn't yet, I think, worked out how to truly surface the best content on that hashtag. So I think, and I hope that they will use AI maybe to search our captions, search our photos better, so that they can give us the content we're actually interested in. And as content creators, we don't have to spend so long just trying to figure out how to game the system.
Amazing. We have come to the end of the time. So we will have to wrap up. I can see everyone's still getting involved in the chat. As I said,
Oh,
if you've got any more follow-up questions,
yeah,
get in contact with Karen. I know she'll be really, really pleased to hear from you guys.
absolutely.
I know all of you are so keen to connect with each other. You're not able to save the chat, but if you do want to connect, please do that on an individual basis. We're not allowed to share your details. I'm sorry about that. I want to say a massive thank you, Karen, for spending this hour with us. It's been super insightful. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.